What is up, guys? Welcome to the ThinkComputers Weekly Tech Podcast. This is episode 471, and our podcast is brought to you by Amazon. If you go to thinkcomputers.org/Amazon and happen to purchase something that helps us out and keeps the podcast ongoing, with me is my co-host, Ryan. What's going on?
Not a whole lot. We have a lively bunch in chat already. I don't recognize these names, but they're there saying hello.
We got people in chat. It is Wednesday. We have a lot to talk about this week. There was
a big list.
There was Valve announced 3 new products, which is crazy for Valve. We have a new low-cost X3D part now that's very affordable. We have some cool reviews. We have an unlimited mouse. This thing never runs out of battery right here. We'll talk about that. We have a CyberPowerPC system, and while you may not be thinking about a pre-built, the cost of DDR5, you might want to actually get a pre-built to save you some money there. So definitely a ton to talk about this week. We do have our full show notes page.
I do have to comment. Someone asked, is this pre-recorded or live?
We are live.
This is live.
We are live. We do it live, and then it goes out. I guess you would call that pre-recorded out as a YouTube video, or if you just want to listen on audio later. So, but yeah, right now, as you're commenting, we are live. So we are live. But we have a show notes page. If you want to follow along to anything that we're going to be talking about this week, it's on the site. Just go to the podcast section up here, and then it will be the first one right here. And everything that we're talking about, we have articles on. So if you want to follow along or get more information or reference it later, it's all going to be right here for you. Really easy to go ahead and, get in there and get all of the information that you kind of want to see. Now, for pre-builts, Ryan, the last time we really thought hey, a pre-built might be a good idea was it?
Yeah.
It was 40 series.
30
series. Wow, it's been a while.
Yep.
So pre-builts are never a bad idea, especially if you're new to building computers. You just kind of want a PC. You don't want to go out and buy an Xbox or PlayStation 5, but you're a gamer and you want a pre-built system, right? You want a system that's already been built for you. You take it home, you plug it in, and you're kind of good to go. And there's nothing wrong with that. And this is for a lot of people, this is their entry level into maybe building their own PC later. A lot of people, what they do is they get a pre-built, then maybe after a year, they'll get enough courage to swap the RAM or add a new M.2 or something like that, right? And then the next time maybe they'll build their own computer. But there's nothing wrong with pre-builts, just because it does save you a lot of time as far as building the system yourself. And again, if you're not sure, there are horror stories of people, they don't put on the thermal paste, or they they break the memory, or they do something. They put in the graphics card, but then they don't plug it. They plug their HDMI into the HDMI port on their motherboard, not on the graphics. There's all kinds of stories, but there's nothing wrong with pre-builts. And one of the biggest names in pre-builts is CyberPowerPC. They've been doing it for quite a long time. So we took a look at their Gamer Supreme, and they have a bunch of different SKUs or models in their Gamer Supreme. So if you just type up CyberPower Gamer Supreme, there's going to be a ton. But this specific one that we took a look at is their SLC 9000 BSTV3. I know that probably just doesn't mean anything, but this one's actually sold exclusively at Best Buy. So you can literally go into the store, go into Best Buy, and pick this up. So it gives you a good reference of what you can get, especially again, if you're a newbie and you go to the CyberPowerPC website, you're I don't want to customize. I just want something that I can just pick up and buy. This is going to be that system. So getting down to specs and what's in this is going to have a AMD Ryzen 7 9800 X3D, an RTX 5070, which is made by PNY, 32 gigabytes of DDR5 6000 memory, a 2 terabyte PCI Express 4.0 NVMe SSD, an 850 watt power supply, and the CPU cooling is going to be liquid cooled with their own AIO, and then they have their own case. This is a CyberPowerPC made case that's going to house everything, and you get a couple extra fans with that as well. And it's been like a while since I've taken a look at a CyberPowerPC system. So like this will give you a really good idea if you do go to Best Buy, or even if you order it off Best Buy right now, like if you order off their website, this is how it's going to come. This is how it's going to ship. Really quick question in the chat says, is a Ryzen 5 5500 and ARC B580 good for 1080p F125? Probably. If you turn the settings down, and I know you can turn the settings pretty far down in F1, yeah, you should be able to do that at 1080p. I don't see an issue with that. But yeah, this is how it comes. It's very well protected. So you get this big box, and then you open up the box, and then there's another box inside, which is this box, which houses the system. And then you get a bunch of accessories, which is kind of nice because a lot of these pre-builts, like you get the tower, but then you have to buy like, your mouse, your keyboard, everything. This comes with a mouse, and it does come with the keyboard, so you're good to go. All you really need is a monitor, and then you'll be good to plug this in. And then inside that other box, everything's super well protected, which is nice. And it does have that like foam inside, so your graphics card doesn't move around during shipping. Everything came, no problem, no issues, no scratches on the case, nothing. And then if we take a look at the system, this will give you a good idea of like the case that it comes with, and everything like that. So the case is pretty nice. It is going to be like the aquarium style case that has a single curved panel here, which is slightly tinted, and that's going to show off your entire system. I'll show you the pictures with all the lights on and stuff. But it's actually a pretty nice case. Everything was, put together quite well in this. Lots of cooling. As far as ports that you are going to get on this case, you're going to get a Type-C to USB-A, which is pretty standard here. At the back of the case, nothing special. Of course, you have your motherboard and everything like that. Power supply, of course, at the bottom. And we do have that pull-out filter, so this is going to be pretty easy to clean as well. And then this is going to have your side mount cooling. And then that entire panel comes off really easily. Like I said, it's a single piece. And then we get a look inside, and you can see the extra fans that they have installed. So you have the 3 fans on the 360 millimeter AIO, and then you have 4 more RGB fans. So you have a total of 7 fans in this, which is quite nice. Like I said, everything's put together very, very well. You can see all of the cable routing and everything. And just like we talked about with the Lenovo, was that last week? Everything here, especially CyberPowerPC, everything is going to be upgradable. So it's not like they're using a weird form factor of a motherboard. It's not like things are locked down where you can't change it. This is essentially like building your own PC. So this is going to be fully upgradable. So you won't have really any issues with upgrading this or working on it or anything like that. Everything's very easy to get inside as well. No issues there. So talking about performance based on these specs, we'll go right to our gaming performance because I'm sure that's what you guys want. We have a ton of benchmarks in here. But looking at 1080p, you're getting really high FPS, all up to 200 FPS in a lot of titles. So if you're doing 1080p, this is going to be your high refresh rate monitor. If you're doing 1440p, this is still going to be right around that 100 FPS up to 144 FPS. And then 4K, this is going to be your over 60 FPS at 4K with that 5070. And of course, because it's an NVIDIA 5070, you can, of course, enable things like DLSS and get even better performance overall. But this is going to be a great performing system. No real issues. The only real issue that I had with this system, the temperatures were good. We have temperatures and everything in here as well, is that the fan curve that they had on the fans, they would ramp up and they would just get very loud at times. Like the initial ramp up was super high. It was like the fans would go really, really high and then they would kind of settle down. You could probably adjust that within the CyberPower or within the motherboard software. This was based on an Asus motherboard, so that would be Armory Crate. that was kind of the only issue. And it like I said, it was definitely loud. I also think after all these years, CyberPower's been around for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they should have some type of companion software. And I know that's hard because they're using different brand motherboards and they have to integrate with all of that. But like for a beginner, like all the motherboard software is different. And if you do want to adjust those fans, or even if you like, for most people, they want to change the RGB effect, like going into each one of those softwares is a little different. It just would have been easier. Like I really like what Lenovo did with their pre-built because they had the companion software, which is actually one of the best ones that I've used. And it just allow you to make those little changes where there's all different types of software depending on the motherboard. I just wish CyberPower had kind of some type of companion software where you could change something. But overall, the system is really good. And for one of the first times, and I think this has a lot to do with the price of DDR5, but I spec'd out the exact system on PC Part Picker, and it was actually more expensive.
Oh, wow. And you got to do the work to put it together.
Yeah, and you have to do the work to put it together. So, and this is still keeping its price. The price is $1,979, so $1,979.99, just about $2,000 almost for this system. And at least I checked it this morning. Let's see if it's still keeping its price. Yeah, it's still this. So it hasn't gone up in price based on the price of DDR5, probably because these are already shipped to Best Buy and they're sitting there, so they've already been paid for.
I was going to ask if you could buy it in store, but it looks like you can. It'll be ready on, yeah. Or heck, you've even got available for pickup today at a nearby store.
Yeah.
So like, that's nice.
Yeah. So these are keeping their price. They're not going up in price because of the price of DDR5 currently. So I really like that. If I can get a pre-built for less than it would cost for me to build it. Now we had to pick a different case, but we picked like an NZX, like a very comparable case. You know what I mean? In a different AIO, but it was again very comparable. But yeah, if I can get a pre-built for cheaper than it costs me to build it, and again, you factor in at least, even if you're like an expert, it's like at least an hour, and then you have Windows installation, like, you know, at least an hour, 2 hours for building and everything like that.
And software installation and driver installs, you know, all of that.
Yeah. So really, really, like, hats off to CyberPower for this system. Like I said, I think for a lot of people, this will be like a good middle of the road system at $2,000 too. It's not insanely expensive either. And again, you can essentially do 1080p, 1440p, and 4K all at over 60 FPS, and you can obviously adjust that. And if you're doing something like streaming, it can handle that. If you're doing creative work, it can handle that as well. So I gave it a 9 out of 10. And like I said, you can buy this at Best Buy. You can go in the store and get this, which is the best part about it. It's like, you know, a lot of times you're like, oh, I got to wait. Then they have to assemble it. And then it's like a week to get it. You can literally just drive down the road to Best Buy and pick this up, which is pretty awesome.
Well, not only do you have you probably have the support of like CyberPower, but depending on, you know, if you have like the Best Buy premium membership, or, you know, you have a local resource as well for support issues sometimes. So that makes it nice too. So definitely check that out if you're in the market for a newer system, because like I said, it's better than building it. At least currently, it's still holding its price, which is good. So definitely go ahead and check that out. We did have another question in the chat. Skittle asked, during the Micro Center Black Friday deals, should I get an Ultra 7 265K or spend a bit more money on the R9 9900X? And Ryan said, both are good. If you're waiting for the BF deals taking pricing, especially if you have other components to buy at the same time. Yeah. I mean, you can also like look at prices, like what's an Intel board cost versus like an AMD board. I assume they probably are looking for those, because if you're considering AMD and Intel for those, you've got to get an associated board most likely, right? So yeah, if you got other components to buy, maybe there's some bundle deals, right? Like, yeah,
they should have some good bundle deals. I haven't even looked at because it's like we talked about last week. Like it's like, oh, Black Friday, week or Black Friday. Now it's like Black Friday month. It's like,
yes.
Yeah, it's like, so I haven't really looked at, I need to buy a new processor as well. Because we'll be rebuilding my main system, which hasn't failed me on the podcast yet. Yeah, knock on wood here. But yeah, so I would say, like I said, but kind of, I would say the Core Ultra series is much improved over like a 14. Like if you were buying something like a 13900K, 14900K, you really have to deal with heat, and that's kind of an issue where the newer Core Ultra series parts they don't get that hot. And I mean, AMD is really good right now too, and I think both boards are going to be fully featured. It just kind of depends on what your use case is, what you think is going to be best for you, I think. But both are solid choices, in my opinion. So now we'll move on to mice. And we all know, or at least maybe you do know, Glorious was one of the first to come out with a lightweight gaming mouse. It's kind of like what got me into really enjoying lightweight gaming mice. And they were one of the first ones to put all the holes in the mice to achieve that lightweight, design and everything like that. And that was their original Model O mouse. And I love that mouse. And I used that mouse for a very long time. But they have a new one. It's a Model 03. There's a wired and wireless version. We took a look at the wireless version, which is still sitting here. And I think it's going to be my go-to mouse.
Good looking too. Like
it's like if you look at
its performance and feel, like it just looks awesome. Why is it?
Yeah, really quickly before I show it to you, it's 66 grams, so it's not super light, but it's not super heavy. Has a 30K optical sensor, 8,000 hertz pulling rate, and it has some tricks up its sleeve. But we'll take a closer look at it. I'll show it to you guys here. Like this. Hopefully, I don't exit out of the podcast by it, but like it is actually a really good looking mouse. Just pretty excellent. And the cool thing about this mouse is that you'll see this like orange thing right there. That's actually a battery. So it has swappable batteries. So you essentially never run out of battery because you have another one, which I'll show you, that's in a charging station. And the cool thing, which I thought was really cool, is beyond the batteries, there's actually a battery in the mouse as well that gives you 10 hours on top of that. So when I actually go like this and I pull the battery out, it's going to tell me that I'm like that battery's out, but it doesn't disconnect. The mouse doesn't disconnect at all. So there's no downtime. So when you are swapping your batteries out, you have no downtime on your mouse at all. There's no waiting for it to turn back on or anything like that. It's pretty awesome. And it's even pretty cool. Like if we look at the bottom here, which I'll show you. So that's like where the battery goes in. And when you put it in, there's like a little window. It's actually kind of cool. So it just swaps.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. It just swaps right back in. Again, no downtime on this at all. Like I don't have to worry about it getting disconnected or anything like that. And like I said, it's just an excellent looking mouse as well. So it will come with this little base station. So you get 2 of the swappable batteries plus the base station. And I actually really, really like the base station, not just because it's charging the other battery. So you're like, again, never really running out of battery. But on top of that, it actually acts as a little hub as well. So on the back of it, there's where you plug in the actual dongle. And when you're actually using the mouse itself, it has a bunch of LEDs on it. So it's going to let you know like how much charge you have on your current battery, that it's getting power, your pulling rate, if you're actually getting that 8,000 hertz pulling rate, and your DPI. And like on the bottom, there's that red light that lets me know my DPI, but like I'm not going like this to like look at my DPI. Right. I can look right in front of me and see what my DPI is. So it's actually really informative, and I really, really like that system. And yeah, just having 2 batteries and just being able to swap them seamlessly. I know most people like, oh, I'll just plug in my mouse if it runs out of power. But like if you're gaming, and you plug your mouse in, even if it's a nice mouse that has a nice cable, like you're going to notice the drag if you're not used to it. Like you just will. And then in some cases, like a lot of wireless mice have like a dock. Yeah, you can like plug it into the dock, but you will have some downtime. Even if it's like a fast charging mouse where like, you plug it in for 5 minutes, you get another hour or something like that. Like you're still going to have that downtime. And I think this really solves that problem. Is it needed?
I don't know. I think it's pretty
you can make the assumption that maybe it's not needed. But I think, and like, that's why I think that I'm going to use this from now on. Super comfortable, the like great accuracy, no issues, no wireless issues, nothing. But just for the fact that I know that like if we're doing the podcast and then I'm like, oh, my mouse died, I don't have to like go look for a cable. I don't have to worry. Or like if I'm gaming, I know that I have a battery in the charger. And I can swap it out. Even if for some reason both batteries are dead, I still have a battery in the mouse as well. Like,
yeah,
it's essentially,
especially that it lasts for 10 hours. Like that internal battery, that's a long, in my opinion, capacity for like an emergency backup battery.
And again,
in your mouse
with the battery installed, it's still only 66 grams.
Yeah,
so it's super light. Software works great, no issues. Oh, and one thing that's also nice too is there is a button on the actual dock, and you can change what it does. By default, it will actually swap your DPI, but you can like change what it does as well. So it can actually act as like another button on the mouse if you really like want it to be, which is kind of fun. But they really thought this out. I like it. The only downside is going to be the cost of it. It is, what is it? It's currently $159.99, which there are cheaper mice out there that essentially have the same spec without the batteries, right? So it kind of just depends on if you really think you're going to make use of that battery, it's going to be a great price. It's going to be, so you usually have to think if like you're going to use it. But for me, somebody who like, I like turn my computer off and I go to bed. Like I don't think about plugging in my mouse all the time. You know what I mean? I mean, there's so many times where like we're about to do the podcast and my mouse doesn't work and I just have to use another one. So for that reason, for me, it's very useful, very, very useful. And again, it looks so good on the, like they really designed this thing super well. I mean, if you look at like it's an excellent looking mouse with the RGB lighting and everything like that. So I gave it a 9 out of 10. Price, just because like my cons were like the price, just because you can find comparable mice for cheaper. And then again, it's not like it's super light. It's not in that low 50s into the 40s grams as far as how light it is. So those are the only cons. But like I said, I think if you're somebody like me who just like you go to bed, you don't plug in your mouse, you forget a lot of the times, and like there's so many times where like you just want a game and then you're like, oh, I have to wait at least 10 minutes. Like everybody else is, and all your buddies are in the lobby, they're jumping into a game. And like, when we play Battlefield or play Apex, like if you're in a match, I have to wait till you're done in your match. And that could be 30 minutes. That could be, you know what I mean? So, I like this. I think Glorious did a great job on this. So check out that review for sure. And then we'll move on to, actually, before we get to Case One Friday, I did want to let you guys know that we did post a video today on our YouTube channel of the Lee & Lee 011 Dynamic Mini V2 Flow. This is, of course, the follow-up we already talked about. That's a really weird place to pause this video. You should see my screen, guys. Look at my face. We'll move to somewhere else, maybe a little bit better. Wait, let's go to. We'll try to go to somewhere. I'm talking about the case, but yeah. So this is the V2 of the 011 Dynamic. It's the Flow version, which comes with the 5 fans. We talked about it. Was it last week or the week before? Yeah. But we finally put out a video on it. So this is a full-length video going over everything, going over my build. So just definitely go ahead and check that out. It is linked in the show notes. Just wanted to give you guys that really quickly. But we will move on to Case Mod Friday, and we have I just want this. I just want to sit in front of me, You know what I mean? I just want this on my desk because it would look so cool. We have Ellie from Liquid House in the house. Good to see you here, and it was good seeing you last week here in San Diego as well. And I'm sure you like this build. This is just a sick build. This is from our good friend AK Mod, and this is called Miko Core V2 Neon, and it's using all of the Asus Miku collection, which is sort of like all of this neon anyways. And then AK has fashioned this into like, I guess you would call it like a DJ deck.
Yeah.
Which just looks awesome. Like it looks,
it's got to be huge.
Yeah. Cause I mean, like here's like here's like a 360 AIO. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, but imagine this sitting on your desk. Like it's super cool.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. I love the colors. It's so cool. Obviously.
Well, like the fabrication capabilities he has in his workshop are wild. To be able to make something this big and like everything flows together, it doesn't look like, oh, that's apart from this that he, strapped on or whatever. Like all these just look like functional components. It all looks, it's wild.
It's just like it always blows my mind how like, we'll do like one build and you're like, oh, that's so good. And then I'll do another one and just like, it just blows your mind each time. It's pretty incredible. All of these look like there's some, like you could see this again. We always talk about it like in a movie, like as a movie prop or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, this one's awesome. And it just goes with the Miku collection from Asus. Like all the parts, they didn't have to be painted or anything like that because they're all that neon. What is that? Green? Not neon, but like a teal turquoise color. Yeah. It just all goes together so well. Yeah, just awesome.
They've done so many great versions of that card.
Of the Astral.
Like, almost every one of them looks great.
Yeah, there's not one that I don't necessarily
I don't know that I've seen one I don't like. That gold one is kind of funky looking just because of how it's manufactured, but
well, that was like a one of one.
I know.
Yeah, but like all of their production ones look amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just super, super cool. Like I just really like how everything goes together and it just looks and that's up. I mean, wonder how big that table is. It's got to be big.
Yep.
Yeah. So shout out to AK for this one. Of course, we have the full article on the site. If you want to check it out, it has all the pictures, has everything. If you are interested, definitely go ahead and check that out. Also, guys, if you don't know, we are running a $100 gift card giveaway. So we're giving away a $100 gift card of your choice, wherever it is. And this is worldwide. So we're not locking this one down. A lot of times we have to lock our giveaways down to the United States because based on the provider of the prize, we can't ship it. But this is a digital gift card. So wherever I can buy you a gift card, we're going to get you one. And there's almost 15,000 entries in this, guys. There's 16 days left.
2 weeks left, yeah.
Yeah, still have 2 weeks left. And if you check the YouTube video, in there is a little. If you watch the video, if you watch that Lee and Lee video, there's a little
secret code.
There's a secret code in there. But also for you guys on the podcast, we have a secret code as well. So the secret code for the podcast people is Pod Holiday 100, all one word, all capital like that. So if you weren't sure what that one was, it is on there. And again, there's one in the YouTube video. There's also one, if you check our social media, we posted a video on our social media that has another one. So you guys can get a ton of entries in this just for the secret codes. So get your entry in, super easy. And of course it's linked in the show notes, but if you go to the website and you go to contests, it is right there. So definitely go ahead and get your entry in for that. And then we'll move on to news. We'll start with graphics cards. And the Asus RG Matrix, and I feel like this is like talking about Noctua because it's like you either hate it, or you love it. But we all remember this card that was announced by Asus. This is their 30th anniversary ROG Matrix card. It has this crazy shape and it's interesting. But they have this really cool thing in it which I didn't know or wasn't talked about much when it was first announced, called Level Sense. So it has a level sensor in it, so it detects GPU sag. And you go into like the GPU tweak software, you can like set a threshold of like degrees, how much it's like moving. So you'll get an alert if you get GPU sag. How cool is that?
That is nice. And I'm sure it's something that like happens over time too, right? Like,
yeah,
or has the potential to. Yeah, 50 series, these cards are big. This is actually the first series that I've had a card where I actually have a little riser underneath the card holding it up, because I was like, this thing weighs a ton. I don't have it in a vertical setting, right? My 20 series card was vertical, so I wasn't worried about sag. So yeah, I think this is cool. I still kind of recommend.
Do you think Asus will bring this down or like maybe put it in an Astral, maybe put it
I could see in an Astral, yeah.
In a Strix card.
Yeah. I just
eventually
think you just have a
that's
lot
how
of
these
there.
things happen. Like they did the same thing with motherboards. Like you'll have this exclusive feature on motherboards, and then over the years it will eventually trickle down, right?
Because it's not like this sensor costs much. Like it's just some tiny little, there's no way it costs
and like again, like remember like IO shield, like
built into the motherboard,
that was like an exclusive thing on like ROG boards, and then it's on every board, right? And like certain things, it was like an exclusive thing, and so like maybe over the years we'll eventually get this, right? Especially if cards remain, especially in like the the 90, 80, and maybe even 70 series, like they remain pretty big and pretty heavy. You could see this being a thing. So that's really, really cool. I would hope it comes down to other cards and we get this on other cards as well. Just again, gives you that it gives you that peace of mind, and it also is like, okay, well maybe I will pick up the Astral then. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that definitely might be a thing. Talking about graphics cards, we've been hearing about the RTX 50 Super series. There are refresh that's going to be coming. Maybe it's not coming.
Oh
no. DRAM, and which you need. We have VRAM on these cards.
Yeah.
Memory in general is
expensive,
in low supply because of the AI boom. Essentially, all the AI companies are buying up all this DRAM for all their systems, and so it seems as if we don't have like the AIB partners don't have definitive information from NVIDIA, like what the final spec's going to be. On top of that, there are rumors that the entire refresh might get scrapped just because there's not enough available GDDR7 memory out there. That's just a rumor. I don't know if that's true. But again, like if you think about it, like why would NVIDIA allocate, like if there's only a set amount of GDDR7 available, if they're like, okay, well, why would we allocate it to these cards that we don't make a ton of money off of,
right?
Instead of like the big AI chips that make us so much more money. And we've talked about this previously. It's like, I know, like we think of NVIDIA, we think of like GeForce RTX graphics cards, but that's not their biggest business at all by any means. Yeah. So with AI blowing up and you need these massive data centers where NVIDIA is getting so much money, because they are the primary hardware provider for the data centers and all of these massive GPU arrays. Like if they're like, oh, well, we're just not going to do a super series. I mean, I wouldn't say it's because it's just a refresh. It's not that big of a deal, but it's still.
Well, it's newsworthy for sure.
But like, do you know what I mean? Is like if you're an end user and maybe you didn't buy a 50 series initially, you're like, I'm going to buy the Super, and then NVIDIA's like, well, we're not putting the Super out.
Yeah.
How do you think that's actually going to happen?
I don't know. Like you said, it's such a small portion of their income now that it wouldn't surprise me if they're just like No, like you're gonna piss people off though, and just be like, oh, they've jumped the shark. They don't care about the consumer anymore.
Or could they say, hey, like the availability of VRAM's not there. We don't want to put it out, and you have to pay a crazy
the price would be crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. That could be it too. And again, like the board partners don't have the final specs, and like this is supposed to be announced or be released around CES time, which is pretty soon, coming up in January. So yeah, so it'll be pretty interesting to see what happens with the 50 series refresh. And again, there's not a whole lot of leaks either. So it's not like there's like, like evaluation samples out there. There's not like
shipping manifest.
There's not any of that stuff. We haven't seen any of that stuff yet. And again, talking about that, like that's all because RAM prices have gone through the roof. There's so much demand, and the way it's much like oil. It's kind of the same thing where if there's a massive demand for it, the price goes up, and there's less supply, and there's only so many companies that actually make the NAND chips, and there's not enough supply right now, especially for the insane demand of AI. And people were comparing like I don't know if it's a 32 gig kit or a 64 gig kit of memory is like the same price as like a 5070 right now.
Good
like
Lord.
we can look if we.
I haven't really paid attention to prices. I knew it was up, but that's why because I haven't needed to buy memory, but.
Yeah, I mean, just like on Newegg, like 32 gigabyte DDR5. How much is it? Okay, they're at like 200. That's not bad. Maybe it was a 64 gig kits that were like crazy. But it's still like, it's like $400 for Corsair Vengeance.
Yeah, memory was.
That's 64. Yeah, all the 64 gig kits are pretty high right now.
We've been here before, right? It fluctuates so much on certain things. It's kind of scary, but yeah,
I mean, a 64, like I'm looking right here, like a 64 gig kit of G.Skill Trident Z5 Neo, and it's not even like super high. It's DDR5 6000. It's $500. Somebody had a graph that just showed the price of DRAM going like straight up.
PC Part Picker has price charting, so you could like if you had an account there.
I don't have an account, but
or I don't even know if you gotta have an account. I'm just saying,
I mean, Corsair. This is like super high end memory. That's $600. But yeah, I mean, jeez, that's 128 gigs. Okay.
What you were looking up? DDR like
just 64 gigabytes DDR5.
232. Oh my gosh, what did I do here?
I don't know. Did you break your computer?
Kind of.
But the whole, like I said, the whole reason for this is just the insane demand for NAND in general for AI applications. You have all these crazy data centers going online. You have all of these companies selling AI parts, parts for AI, not just gaming. So the demand is just getting exponentially more in these NAND companies, whether it's like a Micron or a
show mine.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, here's just like a Corsair kit, right? This 64 gig kit, and the price chart back in July, it was $208 essentially. Now it's $489.
Yeah. That's double.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And we have a graph in the article too.
180 day. Yeah. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, people were saying that it it doubled within a month. I mean, you can see the massive jump here, like in this graph, this price history graph here. Like it's pretty crazy how much it's gone up, and you kind of would only expect it to continue to go up.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's like for people building
very similar to the GPUs, the 30 series, right?
Yeah, and I don't know. I haven't read into if any of these, like again, like the Microns and the SK Hynixes and any of the, like if they have plans or they are currently building more factories to pump out more of this NAND. I mean, you would think that they would just for the demand.
I mean, I don't know what it takes and costs to build a factory or how long it takes.
Yeah, but like maybe they've had, because like wherever that was, there was like a power outage. And I don't know if it was in Taiwan, and the power went out for like an hour, and like that crushed the supply already. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting next few months to really see how the pricing goes. And again, as AI, everybody said like AI is a bubble, but like I don't see like on the hardware side, I don't see things slowing down as far as like there's so many companies currently that are building these massive data centers. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't see that slowing down anytime soon, because you need the GPU, you need that compute power to do all of the AI things that we're doing, right? Do you think it's a bubble?
I have a feeling it kind of is. Like I've been hearing that more, and whether it's just like the hot story right now, I don't know. We'll see.
But like, okay, so yes, like everybody's, instead of search, everybody's using ChatGPT and the other things. Sure. And then all of the other like vibe coding and all of that stuff, like I don't feel like that's going away. And I feel like more and more people are using, again, a ChatGPT or something similar for search instead of Google.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
And like
I'm just not that person, so
all of the like they're integrating AI into their softwares,
products,
and like to make things just go so much faster. Like I don't see that going away. So like again, as you talk about it as a bubble, yeah, like there's like the dumb things that we're using AI for, sure, right? Whatever. But like the serious applications, I don't see those going away. But that's just that. I mean, that's how I see it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things go over the next however long.
A user and connoisseur of the dumb things. So I just
yeah. So we'll see what happens with everything. But moving into it's holiday season, everybody's gonna be buying new parts or maybe building a new PC. That's all at the time when everybody does it. And there's a new CPU on the block. It is the Ryzen 5 7500X3D, 6-core, 12-thread. Of course, makes use of that 3D V cache. Very affordable, $269.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's already showed up in some pre-builds too from Micro Center. And if they just like, this is some AMD graphs, so take this with a grain of salt as always. There are some reviews already out of this as well if you want to take a look at those. But it looks quite good for the price. And again, if you're building a new system primarily for gaming, this could be a very viable option if you're just going for something in that range of 6-core 12-thread. And this is supposed to be announced at CES, and I think AMD was like, what's the holidays? Like, we should just announce this.
Yeah. I mean, kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like more affordable X3D parts in general. And again, we talk about these 12-core, 16-core, ton of cores. But like the average user, and even us, like, are we really making use of all of those cores at all times?
Sometimes. I have been lately playing Battlefield.
Yeah, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For a lot of people, yeah, you like to say that you have the 16-core, 32-thread part, but like, are you actually?
Do you have a real
this?
use case for it?
Yeah, like in general. And again, like Battlefield will play fine on a 6-core, 12-thread.
Oh yeah,
parts. Sure. You know what I mean? It's not. So yeah, I like this. I like the price as well. $269. I mean, that's so cheap.
That is very cheap.
So yeah, I like it. Check out the reviews. There's a ton of reviews online currently for that part. Now, this is interesting. So you buy an NVMe drive, right?
Yep. And
you can't upgrade it. It's always going to be the same.
Sure.
Well, Samsung might change that.
Uh-oh.
So now this is a drive that's meant for like a car. Like this is their automotive, whatever. Okay. but it's a modular SSD where the controller is separate from the NAND. So you could either swap out the NAND and say it's a 1 terabyte, you could swap it out for, you can just like upgrade the capacity. But also it makes me think that you could say it's a Gen 4 and then Gen 5 comes out, you could just like swap in, maybe. I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, I don't know.
But this is their, what is this called? This is their detachable auto SSD. Again, it's made for auto applications.
Huh. That's a lot of storage for a car. I'm just thinking like, what are we? But more and more of these infotainment and
all that stuff.
So much of it, yeah.
Yeah, so pretty interesting. They're going to be showing this off at CES, so maybe take a look at this and kind of see what it's all about. But I like that things are getting more modular. We have the ability to upgrade things. You know what I mean? So that's pretty interesting there. Now this is what I wanted your since you're a network and I
hadn't seen this yet, so I'm curious.
So how do you say that? Okla?
Yeah, I think it's Ookla.
Okla, the company behind speedtest.net, everybody does that. I got fiber now. Let me test my, and that's, or like you're having issues and you're like on the phone with like a Comcast and AT&T or whatever. You're like, bro, you're saying I'm getting this much speed. I'm doing speed test and I'm not getting the speed. I've done that a bunch of times. I'm like, bro, you got to fix your thing. So they've come out with a dedicated speed test device. This is their speed test pulse. And it's a dedicated device that will run a speed test. And it looks like it can work standalone, or it can work like it has an app and it works with your, it's going to work with your phone as well. So like you can see it can just,
I can't see this being a consumer device though, is it?
I don't know.
Like you give this to your install techs or something. So they
or something.
Go to a customer install. They're like, all right, we've got your new internet installed, and here I'll plug in this in, and look at this. Here's how fast it is. All right, see you later. It's neat.
Yeah. Do they have? Is there a price on this? It's supposed to come out in 2026.
Yeah, I mean, they call it a network diagnostic tool, so I'm guessing this, is not for ISPs and enterprises, right? So, I don't see.
I kind of want it. Like run a speed test anytime.
Just like press the button. Yeah.
Yeah.
Active pulse and continuous pulse. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's neat.
That's cool. I think it's cool. It's cool to see because like everybody's run speed like even if you're like you've gone to speedtest.net and like you've tested.
I don't use that anymore though. I have a couple others. Yeah, I use speedof.me.
Okay.
And then just fast.com is Netflix. And so like Netflix has the infrastructure. So just fast.com and it'll show you like your download bandwidth on this big graph on a super simple page. But then you can hit like more details and it'll do an upload and give you some additional info. But like I like that one because like Netflix's infrastructure is going to be able to really show you some of those speeds.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
I've always just did speed tests. I remember when I got fiber, I'm like, yeah. And you post like because the speed test gives you the little thing, and you post it on
it's like a forum signature type of thing.
Yeah, just Twitter or whatever. Yeah, you're like, got that fast speed. So pretty cool. I'm a fan of it. I would like to have one just to mess with it, But like Ryan said, it's like mainly for technicians, and
you're playing your game, and it's the game's giving you the indicator of like low speeds or whatever. You just like slam that button and get a speed test result. And be like, these crappy game servers. It's not my internet.
So
that'd be cool.
Yeah, I like I said, I would if it was like, how much do you think it's going to be?
I don't see how it could be that expensive. It's like a screen. It has a NIC on it, like power and a battery, and all it has to do is like one thing.
Do you think it's like $100?
It's going to be more than that, but I don't see why.
I'd get it for like $100. just to play with it.
Well,
but if it was
we'll
like
when it comes out,
$399, no way.
No way.
Yeah. So do you remember like I think both of these next stories, like a decade ago, they had products. So the first one, everybody like maybe like a decade ago, do you remember like everybody was making the mini PC, like these little like Sony had a Vio one that was like,
I was looking at a Gigabyte Bricks for a long time. BRIX. They had like just like the little cube.
Well, we're talking about that, but also like ones that had the built-in screen and like it was like like a mobile computer handheld, but it was like in the form factor that had the keyboard built in, and like there was a Sony Vio, which I wanted so bad because it just looked so cool.
I do remember that.
There was another company for a while. They were at CES for a while that had their had a screen that kind of popped out and it ran Windows, and it was like, well, maybe that's coming back, because like Apple solved that problem.
We have phones. Yeah,
we have phones and we have tablets, and like a tablet is a great form factor because again, they're powerful enough where you don't need like this sort of brick, like thick device to do what you want to do. A tablet can do it, especially like now with like even my iPad has like an M3 in it. Like I can do a lot with it. But I saw this and I was like, this just brings me back to like a decade ago. I saw this. This is the Omni One Mini PC. Look at this thing. It has keyboard, touchpad, it runs Windows, has full-size DisplayPort on it.
Looking at those Type-C ports on the right side of it compared to the text on the screen, you gotta bump up that scaling on Windows.
It's 326 grams. They say it's highly portable. Powered by an Intel N150 processor, up to 32 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabyte SSD. Shipping in February 2026. This is like I think it's a Kickstarter. Yeah, it's a Kickstarter.
I don't know.
But like, here's the thing, and it's like I love seeing stuff like this because I like cool devices like this, right? But from a functionality and stamp, like you can get a tablet that does everything with a dongle that this does.
Yeah, I mean, I was for a second I was thinking like, okay, you have this when you're on call and you don't want to be like, you don't want to haul your laptop around or be tied to being at home to like take a support call, but you throw this in your pocket or have it with you and like, oh, I'm on call and I've got a call and I got a remote in, right? This is a lot easier. It's like a device for that. Maybe I could see this being cool for, but
you can also remote in from your phone.
You can, but I don't know.
I like stuff like I really like stuff like this. It's just hard to see a practical application over a Microsoft Surface, right? Like a Surface or like something that's very well designed and built. And again, like as much as like we hate, like, oh, look what they took from us in like all these ports, it allows the device to be super thin where you can just use a Type-C and a dongle, right?
I mean, that screen can't be that big. It's a 5.7 inch screen, so it's the size of your cell phone screen.
Yeah. So like the device is like how big? Like it's like this, but like how? Yeah, I guess.
It's because look at it again. The screen is there, and the keyboard.
It looks big though. Right. Like let's watch this video.
Let's see.
Do they show it? Like as
I need this in somebody's hands. So I need like a banana for scale.
It I guess it's like a bigger.
I guess it has a different aspect ratio, so it's a little taller than.
I mean, there's a book, but how big's that book? That doesn't give us any. I mean, yeah. Oh, that bezel too. Ugh.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that. But
I mean, the screen bigger. Yeah.
Like I said, a decade ago, these. Oh, dude.
No. Did you see that typing?
No.
Ain't nobody typing like that. You better not be typing on that. You better be holding this and using your thumb.
Dude, you can use Photoshop on it.
Yeah.
Here's the problem is that it's using Windows, right? And like, if you think about it again, in this application, like they make Photoshop and editing applications for a tablet that are optimized for the tablet. So they're going to run.
It's going to run like crap on this thing.
Like that's the thing. That's why these never became super popular either, because you're using a desktop operating system that like wasn't designed for this. And as phones and again the tablets got more popular, like apps were developed specifically for those. Like I'm not going to run Adobe Premiere on a tablet, but I'll run like Adobe has some like a tablet based app that's really good on the tablet. I forget what it's called, but you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like
I agree.
I still like stuff like this. I mean, it looks cool. I don't know. I just see like, and again,
it's a Motorola Sidekick on steroids.
Yeah, that's like what the one, like that's what the Sony one was like again, like a decade ago. It's the same thing almost. I think it's cool, but would I get it? No, probably not. And then I would just like, again, if you have a tablet or even if you have a like phone most of the time, like, do you need that portable thing? Because most of us have a phone or tablet, which is like kind of their in-between device when they're traveling. And then when they get to the hotel room, they bust open the laptop, right? That's like what I would do. And I feel like that's what most people do. So yeah. And now talking about stuff that was also out a decade ago, we got a surprise announcement today of Valve. Well, we heard some things about some of these products.
Sure, some hardware coming, yeah.
So Valve announced 3 new pieces of hardware, which is, my mind's exploding because Valve releases like new hardware, one thing every 3 years, 5 years, right? So we have 3 new pieces of hardware. So first we're going to start with the Steam machine. So we have a Steam-based, I guess you would call this a console or a mini PC.
A mini PC, yeah.
This is going to run SteamOS, which is Linux. You basically turn it on, it boots up Steam, and you play games. I assume, because it's based on Linux, you can probably do some other stuff with it, but it is essentially designed as a console. Using a custom-made, semi-custom AMD Zen 4 CPU with an RDNA 3 GPU. They say it can do 4K gaming at 60 FPS with the little asterisk of FSR, which is AMD's upscaling tech. They said it's 6 times more powerful than the Steam Deck.
Yeah, I watched the video. I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah. 16 gigabytes of DDR5, 8 gigabytes of VRAM for the graphics. You're going to have a 512 gig and a 2 terabyte model. It looks small.
That's cool. It's got the little light on the front, which I think is pretty sweet. Just looks kind of cool. I like this.
You're going to get 3 USB, 2 Type A, 1 Type C. You're going to get Ethernet to plug right in. You're going to get DisplayPort and HDMI, and this is the power. And then you have a fan at the back. It appears to be quite small. And again, this will be a standalone unit. If you are not old like Ryan and I, about a decade ago, which we reviewed Steam machines, and they were basically, Steam came out with SteamOS, and they allowed other hardware makers to make Steam machines. So like we reviewed one from Alienware. There were other brands there were like 10 brands when they initially launched. So this is their own thing and their own hardware, which I think will make it better just because they can control it more, right? It's their own hardware. And I mean, based on hardware, like the Steam Deck, even though it's a couple years old now, is still a good piece of hardware. So it will be interesting to see if people buy this. I think price is going to be a big thing on this. Yep. They're going to have to comparatively price it to a console like an Xbox or PlayStation, right?
Yep.
But
what I'm hoping for is some bundling, right, with some of these other components.
Yeah. So
better pricing
beyond the Steam machine, which again is going to be like your console. You're also going to get a controller. Do you think the Steam machine will come with a controller?
Come with it? I think I don't know. I feel like it makes sense to.
This is the controller. It has those pads like the Steam Deck does, which have been very popular. Kind of a chunky controller, but definitely a nice improvement over the original. Again, if you're not old, like Ryan and I, Steam had a controller as well, which we also reviewed way back in the day. So this is a new controller.
This is going to work not just with that Steam machine, but any PC. So if you wanted to play PC games with the controller, you're going to get that. Primarily, probably going to be used a lot more with the Steam machine.
Yep.
You have any thoughts on the controller or any?
I mean, I'd be interested. Hold on, like you said, it's kind of chunky looking. I agree. The original Steam controller was kind of chunky too.
Yeah, it had that weird circular.
Yeah, it had the two circular thumb pads.
Yeah.
I feel like I have one in this drawer here, but I'm not going to get it. I know I have at least one or two Steam controllers and Steam links, and I like the look of it. I am a fan of the design like that because I have another controller here, and what bugs me, and I know I'm just old, like we've said, but I don't like the offset analog sticks.
Okay.
It's just like odd to me, right? So this design I do like. I like them being next to each other, like a PlayStation, right? I'm used to it now. Like,
and that's also going to be really nice too. This is going to be like the universal controller for Steam. So like when game developers are putting in their controller controls for the game,
you can just have a Steam configuration.
Yeah, there's just going to be, so like you don't, because like again, every controller that you get for PC is different, and so like you have to kind of, there is a controller setting, but like your controller is a little bit different, and then this is going to be like an easier way for game developers to put in the right controls, and like you don't have to do much, which is going to be nice as well. So seamlessly integrate into Steam, obviously. So you have that. And then the Steam frame, which we talked about on this podcast when they got the trademark for it. This maybe it was like, it was a while ago. I
remember talking about that though. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were like, what's Steam frame? Is that a new piece of hardware? Well, it is a VR headset. So this is powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor. It's going to run SteamOS, obviously. The resolution is 2160 by 2160 per eye. Pancake lens, inside and out tracking, has cameras on it. You're a VR person. What do you think about this?
I think it's pretty cool. You can use it on its own, right, to play games and experiences, or you can actually stream from like a Steam Deck or your system to this, which I like. I like cool. That, using the horsepower from those to send to this. I think that's pretty neat.
What do you think of the controllers?
Well? I'd get used to them. I'm just so used to having the old Vive controllers that these new ones they're just different, but I think it's fine. You don't have to have any base stations. It uses the headset cameras and things like that to kind of fill out your environment. So it's cool. As long as it's priced similar to like Meta Quest 3 or whatever the latest version is, right? It's gonna have to be competitive.
Yeah, and when I saw this announcement, I was like, oh, they're announcing now because they had these ready to
Christmas,
go
right?
For Christmas, right?
No,
they said these are all three of these will ship in 2026, whatever that means.
Yeah,
whatever that means, because that could be, that could be January, that could be December.
I know.
Yeah, we don't know. So
yeah, what I'd love to see is a bundle with this though, like
all three,
especially mostly the machine and the controller. Like that's a bundle that I like.
Or the machine and the headset as a bundle too.
Or the machine and the headset, because the headset comes with its own controllers, right? But you can use the Steam controller with the headset as well to play more traditional games on like big screen mode or whatever. So.
Yeah, quite interesting. I like all of it. Yeah. So we'll see. Pricing is going to be a big thing with this. And obviously, like I said, when all of these actually come out, check reviews, see what's good. You know what I mean? But yeah, completely surprise announcement there from Valve. And we did talk about it for like a second last week in the podcast, but GTA 6 was delayed as well. So November 19th, 2026. Do you think that's going to get pushed back?
I stopped caring.
And if you look at that original date, that said May 25th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I should have got in on that. I
6
should have
months.
got in on that bet on Poly Market that if it was going to come out in 2025. I've seen some of the people who put like 10K on that, and like the payout's pretty high. Man, got to get on those bets. So yeah, so GTA 6 new launch date November 19th, 2026, which would be like holiday, which is actually kind of perfect time to release it, to be honest.
Yeah. Yep, you know what people will be doing over the holidays.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it just scares you that, well, okay, now we're at November. Like if you push it back again, you miss that whole time where you're excited, and as like an adult, you have time to actually play it, because typically during the holidays you do. So that would kind of suck if it got pushed back again. So that's it for news this week. Coming up next week, I'm taking a look at my first ever Sapphire motherboard. So this is the Sapphire Nitro Plus B850A Wi-Fi 7 motherboard. And I was playing with it today. The BIOS is actually really nice. I know that's like not exciting to a lot of people, but
you're a motherboard guy.
Yeah, but like the BIOS was actually quite nice in this. I've been testing it. So we'll have that for you guys next week. And then Ryan will be taking a look at an AIO from MSI. This is their MPG Core Liquid P13360. He has the white one. And yeah, I saw this at Computex actually. And I like the way it looked. I don't know if they made any improvements since Computex or it just remained the same, but
I like the the cover over the mounting brackets is nice. It just cleans it up.
Yeah, it cleans it up. That was like one of the
we always end up with AIOs with like these mounting brackets that are outside of the body of the pump, which is still the case here, but you've at least got something covering it.
Yeah, you have the cover, and then I really like the design on the pump block here. It was like this. It wasn't just like your typical screen. It was interesting the way it was designed. So you'll have to tell us about that next week as well. So we have that stuff coming up for our question of the week. It has to do with the Steam hardware. Would you don't talk about price, like whatever, but like in general, would you buy any of the new Steam hardware that was announced?
Well, it's funny because my son, we were talking about Christmas lists and stuff, and he's like, "Oh, I want VR for Christmas or whatever." And I'm like, first off, like I haven't even heard you have any interest in VRs, and now all of a sudden that's what you want for Christmas. And
that's
so
interesting.
It's not going to be out, so that one kind of throws that out the window. But maybe we just don't do any. Like I've got my gaming PC. He has a gaming PC upstairs. My wife doesn't care about any of that stuff. My daughter doesn't care about any of that stuff. So I have like the stuff I want. We don't need like a family or community gaming area, like a console that's hooked up to the family PC, right? And so, no, not necessarily. Maybe the controller, because I've just been using like an Xbox style controller, like for flying and Battlefield and things like that. Maybe try the controller out.
Can you like on VR? Can you just like watch movies and stuff?
Yeah.
Because like if it's affordable, maybe I could see myself
you can just have like this huge.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. Because like I really liked all the really interesting applications on the Apple one. But that's very expensive and not worth it.
Expensive.
Yeah. I did see a video on social media of somebody. I guess there's like a drawing app on there, and it like you can draw in your wherever you are, and it just leaves whatever you drew. And somebody's like, it's infinite because they walked around the airport and just was drawing the entire time, and like their drawing went all through the airport. Yeah, it was so cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I had an app like that. I think it was one of them built into like the default apps available when the Vive came out, and it was a drawing app, and you could like draw in 3D, and like some of the brushes were like glittery like sparkles and stuff, and you would like draw it and then you could, you're like moving around it, and yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, so like I guess this one, I don't know if it was an Adobe app, I forget what app, but like you could just draw, and then as you walked back to the place where you were,
it's there.
So this guy was just drawing a line.
That's pretty cool.
And he went all around the airport and just drew a line.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
He looked really funny because he had another camera like showing him do it, and he's just like with the headset on, he's just going like this, like throughout the thing. It was very funny.
Pretty cool.
But yeah, it is Wednesday, so that means that we are going to be gaming. We're going to be playing some Battlefield, and I'm actually able to play because I'm actually playing on that CyberPowerPC system. I played on it last week as well because my system just does not like Battlefield, and it does all these weird things when I try to play Battlefield. And we're going to be upgrading that system in the coming weeks as I get some more parts in here for it. So, but we're going to be doing that over on Twitch. So twitch.tv/ThinkComputers will be over there playing some Battlefield. I keep on seeing videos of Arc Raiders. We might have to play.
Well, I talked to Shinny, and he was like, I've been, because he was like a week or two ago. I was like, what do you think of Arc Raiders? And he's like, I played some of the like blah blah. I didn't like it. And then he messaged me today. He's like, I don't know if I'll be able to stream anything but Arc or play anything other than Arc Raiders. It's kind of got me hooked. And
I've seen so many videos, like on my Instagram. I've seen so many videos, and I'm like, this does look like a lot of fun. So maybe we'll.
And it's only $40, I think. So it's nice.
Yeah, it's not crazy expensive. It's just like, will that run on my computer? Or, we'll see before I do my upgrade. So we'll see. But we're gonna be over there, twitch.tv/ThinkComputers. So if you want to keep on hanging out, that's where we'll be. Thanks everybody who was in the live chat, and of course everybody that listens later. And we will see everybody next week.